is Jacqueline Vandagriff, but friends call me Jackie. I am currently a junior here at Texas Women's University, and my major is nutrition with an emphasis in wellness.
They located a body that appeared to have been set on fire. The body, there is some degree of dismemberment to the body.
Jacqueline Vandagriff, known to everyone as Jackie, was 24 years old, born and raised in Frisco, Texas. A graduate of Wakeland High School, she was a licensed esthetician and a junior studying nutrition at Texas Women's University in Denton. She was driven, focused, and by every account, someone who lit up a room.
I chose this major because I realized while working as an esthetician, which is skincare if you're not familiar, I realized the importance of nutrition and just overall health, and decided that this is what I was going to study. So thank you for watching. I am really looking forward to learning about all of you and learning with you in this class.
Jackie maintained an active social media presence on Instagram and Facebook, the documented life of a young woman enjoying her 20s. Friends, milestones, ordinary moments. Nothing in her online profile suggested risk. Nothing suggested danger. On the evening of September 13th, 2016, Jackie went out. Denton is a college town. Active, familiar, social. She visited 2 bars, Fry Street Public House and Shots and Crafts, both near the University of North Texas campus. She was seen by witnesses. She appeared relaxed. At some point that evening, she began talking to a man she had never met. Just before dawn, firefighters were dispatched to a small fire near Acorn Woods at Grapevine Lake, a park in Grapevine, Texas, approximately 40 miles south of Denton. When they extinguished it, they did not find debris or a campfire. They found human remains. Medical examiners documented the full extent of the post-mortem violence. The body had been dismembered. It had been decapitated. The victim's heart had been surgically removed from the chest cavity. The remains were so severely damaged it took 5 days to confirm identity through fingerprints. The victim was Jacqueline Vandagriff. She had not been reported missing. Investigators concluded she was killed shortly after last being seen, late on the night of September 13th. The condition of the remains prevented the medical examiner from confirming an exact cause of death. The manner of death was ruled homicide. The removal of Jackie's heart was not incidental. Grapevine Police Captain John Luna, a 26-year law enforcement veteran, stated plainly, "There are a lot of things that will shock you, and this by far is the worst thing that I have seen." Detectives pulled surveillance footage from both bars Jackie had visited. What they found gave them their first lead. Footage shows Jackie seated at the bar, relaxed and social. 2 seats away, a man sits down and initiates conversation. The exchange appears casual. He moves through the venue naturally, speaks to multiple women. There is nothing visibly alarming. At approximately 11 p.m., the footage shows Jackie leaving the bar, with him. Surveillance from Shots and Crafts confirmed the 2 visited together before departing. Jackie appeared at ease. No witness raised a concern. She left willingly with a man she had just met. Following a public appeal, investigators received tips pointing to a man seen near the fire at Acorn Woods. Cross-referencing that information with bar footage, detectives identified a vehicle traced to a 30-year-old personal trainer from Hazlet, Texas, Charles Dean Bryant. Charles Dean Bryant was 30 years old, a fitness trainer from Hazlet, Texas. Physically fit, socially confident, and unremarkable to a stranger in a bar. Behind that surface, his recent history told a very different story. In June 2016, Bryant began a relationship with Caitlin Mathis, an 18-year-old beginning her freshman year at the University of North Texas. Within weeks, Mathis described him as manipulative and controlling, telling her, "You'll never find anyone better than me." When she broke up with him as university started, he refused to accept it. In the weeks leading up to September 13th, Bryant was arrested 3 times by UNT campus police on stalking charges. Mathis filed a restraining order. On September 6th, 7 days before Jackie's murder, she reported to campus police that Bryant was stalking her. He had found her despite her not telling him where she lived. Bryant was arrested again for violating his bond conditions. He was barred from the UNT campus. Despite this, on the night of September 13th, he deliberately positioned himself within the legal boundary of his bond, in a college bar, within reach of his ex-girlfriend's world.
I heard him say he hates Charles Samson before you.
You know for sure it was him?
Yeah, I know.
Sierra 27, myself, and a 443 and a B. You have school here?
No.
What's your name?
During the murder investigation, law enforcement conducted a forensic examination of Bryant's mobile device. Among the material recovered was child sexual abuse material, illegal content documented in law enforcement records and forming part of the broader profile investigators assembled. Texas Ranger James Holland, a specialist in interviewing serial killers, was brought in to assist. After a 6-hour interrogation, Holland formed a clear theory. Bryant had been consumed by his ex-girlfriend's rejection. On the night of September 13th, he walked into a bar near her campus and encountered a woman investigators believe bore a physical resemblance to Caitlin Mathis. I think, at the end of the day, she's in the wrong place at the wrong time. And she looked too much like his ex-girlfriend.
You're not a violent dude. You haven't really been in trouble. You obviously work out. I mean, you're a stud. You're not.
Holland's assessment was unambiguous. This case had all the hallmarks of a serial killer's first murder. Bryant had been in the process of escalating. And Caitlin Mathis, he believed, was the intended next victim. Prosecutor Anna Hernandez agreed. She might have just been victim number 1, with Caitlin being victim number 2. 4 days after Jackie's body was discovered, Bryant was taken into custody. A search warrant executed on Bryant's home in Hazlitt produced the following: Jackie's purse, recovered from a trash container inside the home. A Texas Woman's University satchel, matching the bag Jackie was photographed wearing that night. A large zip tie with blonde hair in the clasp. DNA confirmed the hair was Jackie's. A large military-style knife, tested positive for blood. A stun gun, Jackie's DNA was found on its electrodes. A bone fragment from Jackie's body found in Bryant's yard. Jackie's cell phone battery, recovered from Bryant's car. A disturbed patch of ground in the yard, consistent with an attempted excavation. After Jackie's death, Bryant used her phone to send Caitlin Mathis a Facebook friend request. The use of a dead woman's phone to reach his ex-girlfriend was later described by investigators as a deliberate act of contact. Prosecutors built a timeline from surveillance footage, GPS data, cell phone records, DNA analysis, and physical evidence. The following is the account they presented at trial. Bryant entered Fry Street Public House that evening with purpose. He knew the area. He had spent weeks in its proximity due to his obsession with Caitlin Mathis. He spoke to multiple women. He focused on Jackie. They moved to a second bar together and departed at approximately 11 p.m. After killing Jackie, Bryant dismembered her body using the military-style knife. He decapitated her. He removed her limbs. He removed her heart. Prosecutors argued the extraction of the heart was deliberate, not an act of concealment, but a choice with no practical purpose in body disposal. At approximately 4 a.m., Bryant drove to Walmart, purchased a shovel, and returned to his home to dig a grave. When the ground proved too hard, he drove to Acorn Woods at Grapevine Lake and set Jackie's remains on fire in a weeded area near a footpath beside the lake. Texas Ranger James Holland conducted a 6-hour interrogation of Bryant. Holland specializes in violent offenders and has noted that many perpetrators actually will tell you. They want to tell someone. He walked Bryant through the evidence chronologically, methodically, leaving no gap. Bryant's account shifted in stages. He first denied ever meeting Jackie Vandagriff. As Holland presented the surveillance footage, GPS data, and physical evidence recovered from his property, Bryant could no longer sustain that position. He acknowledged Jackie had been with him. He then claimed her death was accidental, the result of consensual sex. He said that after leaving the bar, Jackie had asked him to choke her with a zip tie. He said she died during this act and that he panicked, drove to Walmart, bought a shovel, attempted burial, and then burned her remains.
Okay, so something happens. Bam, there's a snap, and we need to figure out what that is. And maybe, she got mad. Maybe she's giving you all the signals and then cut you off. I mean, there could be all kinds of different things going on here, right? I mean, chicks, right? Chicks? Okay, was there a time that you pictured her as this girlfriend that did you wrong, or did anything like that come into play?
No.
Well, you're not a violent dude. You haven't really been in trouble. You know, you obviously work out. I mean, you're a stud. When you fight, you're in any way. So you think you just tightened up on its own, basically?
Not so much that, like, it had a snag on something or...
Okay. Then what happened?
I don't remember. Yeah, she's not responsive. Shake her. And that's it.
Tonight, family and friends are mourning the loss of Jackie Vandagriff, the TWU student murdered last week.
A vigil has just begun in Frisco, and NTTV's Blake Holland is here with more. Blake?
Drake and Shelby, tonight friends and family of Jackie Vandagriff are gathered here at Frisco Common Park not to remember the horrific crime that occurred last week, but to look back on the life of a young woman gone too soon.
Yeah, you don't ever think something like this could happen to somebody you know.
Friends like Olivia Reyes, who recently started living with Jackie, were shocked to hear the news this week that a body found burned and mutilated last Wednesday in Grapevine had been identified as Jackie.
Disbelief. I was really shocked. It's really difficult news to process, and I'm still going through that process right now, but it's upsetting.
On Sunday, police arrested this man, 30-year-old Charles Bryant, on a charge of capital murder. Surveillance video shows the pair at a Denton bar just hours before her body was found. Cell phone records also show the two traveled from the bar to Bryant's Haslett home. A purse belonging to Vandagriff was found by police in a trash can at the home on Sunday. And in the hours before Vandagriff's body was found, Bryant is seen purchasing a shovel at an area Walmart, matching up with evidence in his backyard that someone had tried to dig a hole. Despite the large amount of evidence, those who knew Vandagriff were still left with questions into the murder of a selfless friend who they say did not deserve this.
Something like this should never happen.
And we do know tonight that Charles Dean Bryant does remain in jail on $1 million bond on that charge of capital murder. Tonight's candlelight vigil is set to get underway at around sunset. We're live in Frisco. Blake Holland, NTTV News.
Caitlin Mathis was 18 years old when she met Bryant. She gave her first television interview to CBS News' 48 Hours, describing their relationship and the aftermath with clarity. She described Bryant as controlling and manipulative from the outset. She recognized the signs, broke up with him, filed a restraining order, and reported every incident to police. It was not enough to stop him. I think he really wanted to kill me. I think that he wanted me dead. After Jackie's murder, Bryant used her phone to send Mathis a Facebook friend request, a detail Mathis described as deliberate contact. Right after the murder, he took Jackie's phone and used it to add me on Facebook. Mathis spoke openly about the weight of knowing that a man hunting her killed a stranger instead. She could not have warned Jackie. She did not know her. But the guilt remained. Charles Dean Bryant stood trial in April 2018. Nearly 2 years after Jackie Vandagriff's death. Defense attorney Glynis McGinty did not deny Bryant's presence or his role in disposing of Jackie's remains. She argued Jackie died during consensual sexual activity and that Bryant panicked, buying a shovel, attempting burial, then driving to the lake. The defense framed every subsequent act as the response of a frightened man, not a murderer. Prosecutors presented the physical evidence in full: the stun gun, the zip tie, the knife, the bone in the yard, the receipt, the GPS data. They argued Bryant had deliberately lured Jackie to his home, incapacitated her, restrained her, and strangled her. They returned repeatedly to one question the defense could not answer. If the purpose was concealment, why was the victim's heart removed?
Now, her accused killer is finally on trial.
That's right. Testimony started today in the trial of Charles Bryant Jr., the man seen with Jackie at the bar that night. Our David Goins has been tweeting and updating us from the courtroom. He joins us now live with the latest from the court today.
Good afternoon, Cynthia. Testimony wrapped up here about 10 minutes ago. Jurors so far have heard descriptions but have not yet seen surveillance video at a variety of Denton businesses that show Jackie Vandagriff with the man prosecutors say killed her hours later.
That's my daughter, Jackie.
On the stand today, Ricky Vandagriff says it wasn't like Jackie to not call or to make plans for her mom's birthday. It was on that day, just a few hours later, the couple learned that Jackie was dead. During opening statements, defense attorneys admit that Bryant did commit a crime by attempting to dispose of her body, but they told jurors that she died during what the defense called consensual sex in Bryant's car.
He went out
He is in the car with a young lady who has died during the course of sex.
However, prosecutors plan to lay out Jackie's final hours for jurors to show how Bryant took the vibrant 24-year-old out of a bar and away from her loved ones forever.
Tragically, an evil, destructive figure stepped in front of her on that path.
Jurors on Tuesday are expected to see a lot of surveillance video in the courtroom. This trial is expected to last all week. Charles Bryant faces life in prison if he's found guilty. Live in Fort Worth, David Goins, Channel 8 News.
Now, after a week of testimony, the jury returned its verdict. Charles Dean Bryant was found guilty of murder and guilty of tampering with physical evidence. Sentence 1, murder, life in prison. Sentence 2, tampering with evidence, 20 years confinement. Sentences run concurrently. Bryant is held at a state correctional facility in Amarillo, Texas.
Here with us, we saw you on the 4 o'clock show earlier, but you spent much of your day in court. What was going on inside?
Well, you know, a lot of just routine second day kind of testimony. You know, we know this. The details about Jacqueline Vandagriff's murder, those are certainly gruesome. But today, the testimony from the stand, it mainly focused on placing both the victim and the suspect, Charles Bryant, in the same place on September 13th, 2016.
She seems just fine. We just chatted about how her night was going, school, typical things.
UNT student Sherry Bogue was one of the witnesses on day 2 of the trial. She testified to seeing both Vandagriff and Bryant out for drinks along Fry Street in Denton the night she was last seen alive. Surveillance video used in the trial showed as much.
The female sat pretty close to us, and, us ladies, we wanted to go and talk to her, so we chatted with her for a little bit. And then the man was talking to the bartender and then eventually to us.
Aside from Bogue, Tuesday's testimony mostly dealt with a list of expert witnesses, which also included an FBI agent who explained how cell phone data was used to track both Vandagriff and Bryant's phones that night.
The next activity I have is on the victim's phone from 12:58 to 1:32 a.m. And the phone, the bar is kind of about right here. So we started moving south. And so 12:58, utilize this tower sector. Then it shifts, goes farther south at 1:16 a.m. And then at 1:10 a.m., so kind of somewhere between 1:10 and 1:16, so this overlap between these two towers.
Jackie Vandagriff's parents said this is the day they've waited more than 19 months for. However, it certainly doesn't ease any of the grief over the loss of their daughter. Her convicted killer, Charles Bryant, today in court showed no reaction when the jury convicted him of murder and then sentenced him to life in prison. Now, during closing arguments for the sentencing phase, prosecutors brought up the fact that Charles Bryant had a stalking incident with a previous girlfriend and that investigators had also discovered child pornography on his phone. 2 additional reasons they told jurors to sentence him to the max of life in prison. After the verdict was read, Vandagriff's family, who sat through days of horrific and graphic testimony surrounding her murder, shared that they are starting an endowment at TWU in Denton, where Jackie went to school, to, in their words, build on her legacy of kindness and compassion.
It was a hard case. It was hard for the state. It was hard for the defense. But I think that our system works.
Bryant's attorneys added they have already appealed the decision. He also was convicted of 20 years in prison for tampering with evidence. That will be served at the same time that this life sentence that the jury handed down this afternoon. Live in Tarrant County, David Goins, Channel 8 News. Statement.
He is not eligible for parole consideration until 2046. Texas Woman's University established an endowment in Jackie Vandagriff's name in 2018, supporting students pursuing education in health and well-being, the field she was studying when her life was taken.